Hey everybody, I'm Sharrin Fuller, and I am here today with my co-hosts, Don Brolin and Duncan. This is our very first episode of BFD Advisors. BFD, whatever you think it is probably what it is, but also Brolin, Fuller, Duncan. So to start off today, we are going to tell you a little bit about ourselves, why you even want to be listening to any of this for the next however so long, and hopefully give you a little bit more insight into who we are and what we do and what we're really looking for. I do not want to start off with me at all.
So Dawn's gonna
I'm gonna let John has way more notoriety than Sean nor I, so most people don't even know who Sean and I are. So we're gonna let Dawn start this because we all know Dawn.
No pressure. It's totally fine. No pressure. No, I'm really excited to be here. I mean, you know, I've been around for a long time, and I guess maybe you think that or you don't think that, but I've really enjoyed the accounting industry. I love accounting, and I love small business owners, and I love everything about entrepreneurship. And so, you know, my journey began back in 1999. I knew when I was 16, I wasn't 16 in 99, that's a different story. But in 1999, I started my first company, and it was my first bookkeeping company, and I grew that and went through various partnerships and things like that if you want to read about that, you can in my book. But, you know, I born powerful accounting, and I'm out of Windham, Connecticut. I love servicing small business clients. You know, again, started out as bookkeeping, turned into, okay, I kind of like tax, and turned into, hey, wait a minute, I really love IRS representation. I always wanted to kind of be, you know, an accounting cop, so I turned myself into one. And so I'm a certified fraud examiner as well as a certified public accountant. But I really enjoy working with my clients and moving towards this advisory conversation, which, you know, that puts people to sleep sometimes because it's just this word that people throw out there, but it really has meaning to me. It really has meaning in that I'm really trying to help my small businesses grow and sustain and to help their employees thrive just as much as the company is thriving. And so I have a passion around that. But even take it a step further, I'm really passionate about helping other practitioners not stumble through a dark room. And that's kind of the way I describe it. When I first started, I'm in a dark room and I'm stubbing my toes and I'm saying really bad words and I can't find the freaking light switch, and so I'm mad about that. And so through that journey, I learned a lot of what to do, what not to do. I learned a lot about what people I want to be like. Who do I want to be when I grow up? Who do I not want to be when I grow up? And so I hope to help my other practitioners, you know, fight through the world of accounting and fight through being a practitioner, or entrepreneurs who are, you know, sacrificing their family and sacrificing what they do for other people to build a business that is meaningful. And so I'm really passionate about that. So I wrote a book called The Designated Motivator. And so those of you who do know me, I volunteer coach softball, college softball. It's a passion of mine. And in order to do that, I had to change my practice. I had to change my mindset. And I had to say, listen, if I'm going to do softball, for those of you who don't know, it's during tax season. So as a tax practitioner, that's kind of like silly. And so, you know, wanting to do that, having a passion around that, I had to make changes. And so one of the primary things I did was I implemented a tech stack that would work while I wasn't there. And it allows me to kind of grab a bit of my life back. And so my next passion is the Designated Motivator for Accounting Professionals, where my goal is to help other practitioners get it straight. Now, do I know everything? Absolutely not. But do I know what's working for me? Absolutely yes. And so that's kind of my goal. But really at the end of the day, giving advice and just trying to help people in their daily life get better in whatever capacity that means. That's a true passion to me. And so I wanted to be on this podcast because I certainly believe everybody has so much to offer. And I've built a great relationship with Sean and Sharrin through our ADP Council days, which we're still involved in now. And it's, again, a passion around helping ADP understand what we as the practitioners go through on a daily basis. What are the things we're trying to accomplish for our clients and for our firms ourselves, and what our goals are. And so I've been really passionate around all of that. And so this podcast, I think, is going to be able to pull the voice out of all of us in a collective way. And we're all such different firms. I do focus on IRS representation. I focus on fraud case work. I have a murder case. I didn't know accounting had murders involved in it, but it does. Like, people kill people over accounting. I never knew that. So good thing I have a bulletproof vest to protect myself in these events. And so, you know, this podcast, I see being able to take my voice and just be able to get it out there even bigger and better, because I'm doing it with two amazing people. And so I'm really excited about this podcast. And that's it for me. You don't have to Beetlejuice me. I'm going to do it myself. And I'm going to pass the baton over to the F, Fuller.
The F. So, my name's Sharrin Fuller. I said that earlier, and I'll probably say it again a few times. I do not have any fancy credentials. I am certified in nothing. Like, nothing.
You're certifiable.
Yeah. I mean, we have all kinds of credentials for you.
I mean, yes. So I don't have any, like, educational credentials. There you go. So I am what we are going to call the street smarts of this group. I'm gonna coin this right now because I'm uneducated.
You're the freaking part.
So I am the freaking. I am, for the most part, what you will find the Jill of all trades. Since I was very, very little, have been very extremely organized, like things my way, very particular. Every one of my Barbies had different buckets, like their shoes were all paired up in little baggies. So I've always been very meticulous and organized. So as I got older and started working for places, I immediately would realize my managers were stupid. They're just stupid. And so I would somehow end up in management because I was probably doing things better, and probably, I think most of the time, for the same price. That kind of happened to me. I used to work at Costco for a while, and they were promoting people to supervisor, but they didn't promote me. Why? Because I already had a supervisor code, the supervisor keys. I was doing the supervisor duties and didn't ask for the raise. Anyhow, so that's where my mindset is. And these guys will tell you this, because when we decided to do this, I'm like, hey guys, I got this. So lo and behold, in management, sales, customer service, I eventually got my manicurist license. I'm actually a licensed manicurist in 3 states. That's a fun fact that we'll test you guys on later. And when I owned my first salon is when I realized, oh crap, what is payroll? What is W-2? What is taxes? I didn't know what any of that was. So I had to learn it. And so that's what I did. I went to the library and I checked out a book and I downloaded QuickBooks on my computer. I think it was like 2002 on my big, massive computer, and really just started getting in there and learned accounting and just loved it. And my check register was always perfect. So this was amazing. It was on a computer, and just really fell in love with accounting and payroll and such. Anyhow, so eventually a little while later, I was an operations manager. It went under, and the operations cold storage place that I was a manager of, they had a bunch of little people renting rooms in little miniature businesses. And when they were selling the place, everybody came up to me and said, I wish I could hire you, but I only need you 1 to 2 hours a week. And I thought, wow, there's like 10 of you. There were enough that I had a full-time job. So I created my very first company in 2006. I was a simple office solution, your mobile office manager. And what I did is, I lived in San Diego at the time, and I did not want to work in an office. So I would go to people's offices and I would download TeamViewer on their computer so I can go back home and remote into their computers and do all their books. So once a week on Mondays, I would go to everybody's office and I would grab their shoebox. I made them put it all in like a shoebox or something. I would grab it. I would file back everything, so we didn't really have, paperless wasn't a thing back then. I'd grab it, I'd take it home, I'd do the work, the next week I'd come back. And honestly, all of this really started because I was tired of working for other stupid people, and I lived in San Diego, and I was in my early 20s. I was partying like a mofo, and there was a happy hour every day, and I wanted to be able to work during my hangovers and not have to go into an office. And that's what I did, and it somehow evolved to me working with VC-backed companies, blah, blah, blah. Really got into the VC-backed, loved it. My company was acquired last year, and now here I am again somehow ended up with 2 more accounting firms. I don't know. I love my partners. Sorry guys, love my team. Somehow ended up with 2 more accounting firms and Glass Wallet, more coaching and whatnot. But really, I feel like my I do know what I'm doing. You can test me. I may not have the fancy credentials you're going to hear from these guys, but I can hang with them. I don't do tax. I can file your 1040s all night and your Schedule Cs. I ain't touching your corporate. I don't do tax, but my specialty when it comes to all this is really going to be the operational process and procedure, HR. I love HR. So really like that core running of an actual setting up and running of the business is what I think my specialty has kind of gone into, because I can set up and have your whole entire business structured and set up and formed and have your handbook and everything done like immediately. And that's kind of where I've landed, and I love it. Although I do love spreadsheets, and my books are impeccable. But yeah, so that's where I've landed. I love my team. I love what I do. I can't say no to anything, and you can take that joke and run with it wherever you want, Sean. But I typically just love helping people. So really excited to work with everybody on this. These guys are awesome. Like they said, we met on the ADP Account Advisory Board in 2017, and we've been leeching off of ADP's expense account since. And I think we do a decent job.
Just for meals mostly, right?
Well, for you, but Don and I are pretty good on those bar tabs.
Dang it.
So as much as we like to give to them, I feel like they give back to us in expense accounts, and I feel good about that. And that just, Rob over at ADP are going to be like, what are they talking about? But anyhow, so that's me. No credentials, no education, no nothing. But I'm here, and they can't get rid of me because my face is right in the middle of the logo now, so you can't get rid of the F of the BFD. On that note, Sean?
Okay, so obviously we all have a wide range of experience here. Everything from operational and bookkeeping and accounting to fraud and designated motivator. So my background's a whole lot different. I do have a few different credentials. I am a CPA, I am securities licensed, and I am insurance licensed, and there's a whole story on why that is. But my journey started with, I was the first kid in my family to get a college degree. So no one knew what it meant to go to college. No one knew what mentorship, heck, careers and what. It was just really go learn computers, kid, and we'll figure it out later. So along my journey, discovered that the FBI hires people with accounting degrees. And that was an epiphany. It was clarity on exactly who I wanted to be as a human being, not just, hey, it's a neat job. That was my identity. Got on to getting a master's degree. I worked in corporate accounting for 5 years and then shifted to public accounting to build the best resume I could. Did Kung Fu, and I literally, really, not like quite Neo version of Kung Fu, but did Kung Fu, shot, trained, worked out like a crazy person, everything I could do to make myself the best possible candidate. And then in 2003, had my final interview scheduled, gonna fly off to Kansas City and do the interviews. I'm gonna go down to Austin and do my physical fitness test. Dallas coordinator says, Sean, you're my best candidate, just go through the motions and you'll be in Quantico in like 4 months. I'd done it. I had done everything it was going to happen. And then the next epiphany. I wanted to be a husband and dad, and I was married, and I was planning on starting having kids soon, and I was going to be an absentee dad because on investigations you're gone for periods of time. I was going to pursue what's called the hostage rescue team, which is basically their SWAT, kind of a dumb meathead too. So it just came back around like, holy cow, I'm going to not be the father and husband I wanted to be. And now I have to turn them down. And in 2003, I turned the whole purpose of my degree down, and now I got a freaking master's degree in accounting I don't want. And so I had to reinvent. I mean, come on, seriously. Does anybody really want to be an accountant? Okay, I'm kidding. Yeah, we do.
I love it.
I figured they would get paid.
Also, I remember, Sean, about that time, I think the FBI put an article in the paper about Sean Duncan turn us down.
They did. There was
devastation and shit in the whole department.
Yeah, they actually had to tear down a whole building in mourning.
I thought so.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It was an awful moment. But so turning the bureau down was this major transition moment. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Do I go back to school at the age of 30 and start all over? And it really dawned on me, the reason the bureau was so compelling to me, it dawned on me. It didn't Sharrin on me, but it dawned on me. It was so compelling to me was that it matters. When you are doing that kind of a career, like fraud examination or helping people build businesses, you're doing something that's impactful. It's not just sit down, fill the form out, punch the clock, and wait for the weekend. So that's when I started my firm. 2006, I started SMD, consulting, and accounting. I found that there was a lot of small business owners that needed the advice from a CPA, because see, that was what my specialty was. I was the special projects guy, the analysis guy, the forecast and modeling, the tax deduction guy. All the analysis and advice that we know as practitioners, it's not being shared. I said, well, I'm gonna go do that. And I think there's a need for it. And then all of a sudden, I'm the largest firm in town. Now, my office is in Frisco, Texas. Currently, it's in Plano, Texas. Right
I was going to say there's 10 people in his town.
No,
just so you know.
no. Frisco, Texas, what has been the fastest growing city in the United States for 2 or 3 times over a course of a decade. Dallas Cowboy headquarters is there. The PGA just moved their headquarters there. There's a 1-mile stretch of the highway called the $5 billion mile, because that's how much real estate's being developed there. This is Money Magazine's 2019 #1 city in the United States to live. So to be the biggest firm in that city and not even trying, because this was all referral based, that's success, right? I mean, I did it. That's a BFD,
that is
right?
a BFD.
But the problem was, on paper, I was successful. I was making a lot of money. I had clients growing up wazoo. I mean, it was amazing, right? On paper, it was exactly what it was supposed to be. But then I wasn't spending time with my family. I was falling into the typical CPA trap, is that I had to work on Sunday because I had to get these returns done, and then I had to pull the 90-hour weeks. But I had turned down the FBI for kids I didn't have, and now I'm not even spending time with the ones I do. And that led to the next big evolution, and I decided I'm done with tax prep. We were the largest firm in town, and I fired all the tax returns and focused on how do I build an advisory practice? How do I focus on the thing that we were known for, the consulting part, and built an entirely new business model. And that's what was really funny, is that's when the national recognition came. All of a sudden, people started finding out about it. Articles are getting written on this firm that's doing only advisory, which seemed kind of comical because that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to take our knowledge and help people, but it wasn't happening. And so that then evolved into more stages. And so just as a firm itself, because it's still a real CPA firm, we do the advisory, the tax, and the business ops. But then so many clients kept asking us about wealth management questions. Well, if you saved me $100,000 in taxes, what do I do with it? Well, we were referring it, and then that would get done wrong by another firm. So we created a joint venture where now we offer tax, wealth management, insurance, and even law. So we can have all of those through that joint venture offered to a client as a full, complete solution. But all of those moments, all these big pivotal moments, led to the Chief Proactive Advisor program. And that's where my speaking comes in, and that's where a lot of us are talking about, is coaching and teaching other CPAs and business owners how to make big changes. And so the Chief Proactive Advisor program is really just, every time I made those big changes, I went through a process. And I didn't realize I used the same process every single time. And so now I teach that process to business owners and to CPAs and to employees and to college students. How do I help you figure out how to move from this point of where you are to where you want to be to achieve success? And there's a lot of technical training and stuff, and we'll get into that later. So that's kind of my journey. It started all with the FBI. It moved through to building the successful CPA firm to now it's a full advisory firm, but with the speaking business, the Chief Proactive Advisor program, teaching others how I achieve those levels of success and fulfillment so that I can spend time with my kids, so I can travel, so I can play video games, and I can wear Star Wars costumes. Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd. They already know that. But it's all those things that we want to experience. So that's my journey. Hopefully the point of all of this is obviously to introduce you to us, but it's also to tell you we kind of know what we're doing here. We have a very diverse set of skills that we can bring and share with the audience and create those opportunities that we can teach practitioners, CPAs, accountants, EAs like us, but also teach business owners and help others be successful in the way they want to be and goof around a little bit as well. This might be the most tame conversation you ever see from the rest of us.
100%.
Because I'm sure there'll be plenty of F-bombs in the middle of it. It's not going to be polar bombs.
I had like 7 inappropriate jokes the whole time you were talking, and I want some sort of like kudos for not making
I am very proud of you.
Yeah.
As a mother.
Yes.
I'm very proud of you.
I was holding it and I'm like,
So I think another thing that we want to like portray to the people, the audience, and the listeners, and we really are here to help other people. Mm-hmm. This is something that's been in our souls to help teach and train and help other people with our journey, and everyone has a story, which is really awesome. And I love listening to other practitioners or entrepreneurs with their stories. And so I want to just for a little bit of the vision of BFD Advisors and what we're seeing, what we really want to portray. The one thing I would like to just throw in here, because it's really funny, if for those of you who have known, I was one of the members of the Radio Free QuickBooks talk show. And this was prior to the days when there really was not a lot of education around QuickBooks. And that was what we were focused on, is just having a conversation about QuickBooks. And it was interesting, and I have to give kudos to Stacy Kildall and Woody Adams, because that experience, when we first started talking about BFD Advisors, I couldn't stop thinking about Stacy and Woody, because I went through this 2 chicks and a dude, and we had so much fun doing it. It was all about the conversation, and for me, this is carrying on that tradition, that tradition that was started many years ago with that.
So am I Woody or Stacy?
You are Stacy.
Are you sure?
You're 100% Stacy.
I'd rather be Woody.
No, Stacy was the driver. She was the one who wanted to put it out there. She was the one who was driving the force.
I am never the designated driver of anything.
No, not a designated driver on that, but yeah, so for me, and then Woody was Woody was fantastic at what he did. He always offered so much great information.
All right, so you're kind of
the feeling was similar, and I just wanted to give some props to that experience, because I think we helped a lot of people. We helped a lot of people through QuickBooks when there was nothing out there to help provide information.
So what Dawn is saying is she has been a BFD before we were BFD. So, but we all know this. But one thing I wanted to say, I want to elaborate on that, on how we got here.
Yeah.
So I've been wanting to do a podcast for a while, but again, no one really knows who I am. They will, because I'm a force to be reckoned with. But anyhow, I thought, who do I want to do this with? Because while I want to be serious, we will find out I have most of my bones in my body are super immature. Again, there's a joke right there with what I just said.
Yep.
But I do want to help, and so I thought, who could I do this with? I'm like, Dawn. Me and Dawn could just kill this. We would just have so much fun. And then Dawn and I were talking. We're like, we need somebody else. Who's it going to be? And first thing we said was Sean. But Sean over here is like, I'm spread so thin, I can't do it.
Lots of crying.
And this was at what, scaling? Did we decide at scaling we were going to do this? Dawn and I were doing this regardless, and we were thinking, we're like, who are we going to do? And Sean's like, I can't do it.
So what they're saying is they bullied me.
That's exactly those are the words I used. I told
they were abusive.
We were
hitting different stops.
100%, but that's not even a lie. I really said to Dawn, well, we're going to see him at, what was the last thing we were all just at?
It's so confusing.
What were we just all at? Were we all just at? Oh, happy hour camp.
Oh, yes.
So Dawn and I were like, we're just going to bully the hell out of Sean until he is just whittled down into nothing but a small puddle of a man and says, fine, just leave me alone. And I feel like that's what we did. But then I think Sean, not only does he love us, he realized he has no effing option. And now he's here, guys. So.
I'm here out of fear. And so really, if you know these two, fear.
There's a shackle under here, and if you try to get away, Dawn is pretty much always packing, so she's a good shot, and I will verbally abuse him.
No, this is the three of us. We know that it kind of we get going in a black hole forms because it's just the weird energy that we create. We're great friends. These girls are like sisters to me, and so it's the right team. No matter what happens, bullying or not,
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. And really and truly, our heart is, how many people can we help?
Yep.
What is the multiplier effect? We could all just sit in a room and talk with one business owner and give them advice, and that would be cool. But if we can start helping more people, especially if we can help practitioners, then turn around and help more people, the impact, while we may never really be able to measure and know it, that's the key. Is what can we actually do to help people out? And then we get to goof around and have fun, and that's not a bad thing either. So it is the right team. Though I am out here of fear, I'm still telling you.
Yeah.
Just understand.
And it will stay that way the entire time. If you don't fear us, I don't feel like we've done what we need to do in life and in this podcast.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I like to slightly scare everybody I come in contact with.
I think what's nice about it is that Sean can experience the fear and then help other people understand how to get through fear.
Oh, there we go.
Because so this is everything that we do
all
will
about
be
coaching.
about
There's a
learning
theme.
opportunity.
I get it.
We love to do I love doing life lessons, so things like that. So younger accounting professionals, younger entrepreneurs, I'm all about, because the coaching of softball, one of my goals is to teach them life lessons. And when you make decisions when you're younger, what impact is that going to have on you in the future? And so that's just like in a practitioner, whether they've been in business for 1 year and whether they're 70 or they're 20, it doesn't matter. We're all in a journey at different times, and age doesn't matter. What matters is how can we positively affect people in whatever stage they're in, and that their life can be better for it, and people around them. And I'm sorry, the designated motivator will live forever, because that is my job.
Yeah.
And that's my soul, is to help. And I'm not always good at it. This is really important. We can all, we know what we're doing. We are confident in what we're doing. Do we always do the right thing? We always try to do the right thing, and sometimes we fail. And that's another thing that we try to, I'm just into this, man. Failure is really hard. Success is easy.
Yeah.
Meaning, when things are going great, no problem. We don't call our accountants when things are going great, because things are going great. They call us when things are going bad. And so what we're trying to give the message to other practitioners is, let's catch it before it gets bad. Let's advise them before the black hole happens, or the phone call that you owe $80,000 in taxes, or someone has embezzled from you, or you made a decision, you partnered with somebody who ended up, things happen. So we want to help prevent. Oh, I can do that to myself too.
I was going
We
to
all
say,
get it. Well, that's the thing.
I'm going to need to check with my lawyers before you pat on my arm for that one.
Oh, it's for me too. It's for all. Listen, we've all made, whether it was from an employee, whether it was from a partner, whether it was from a customer, whether it was whatever the case may be. This is not singling out anything, because through the journey, the failures are many. It's whether you stand up and fight for it or not is what makes the difference, and then make sure you learn from it and don't do it again. And that's the hardest thing to do.
And you're going to hear the horror stories. You're going to hear the positives, and that's part of it. Here's what we've done right. Here's what we've done wrong. Here's what our clients have done right. Here's what they've done wrong. How can you gain that experience from the stories? Because that's when I get all the consulting clients. They'll come in and say, okay, I want to make sure I don't make that mistake. Or my friend did this. And so it's coaching them through that. And so it's all these different perspectives. That's what we want to bring. And I hope that's something that you guys are interested in hearing more and more about as we act through this. And act like a bunch of weirdos. That was really what I was about to say. And
we just have fun with you, because we can be accountants and we can be fun.
Yes.
Just in case you were wondering. And so I think wrapping up episode 1 of this awesome podcast. Sharrin, do you want to wrap it up?
I'll wrap it up. So that is us. I hope you stay tuned, and please, as you get to know us, follow us on social media, sign up for all of our letters. We have a really cool website that I really freaking love. Also, big shout out to Charlotte, who's behind the camera right now.
Ooh,
Charlotte is amazing, and if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have been able to get this done, because she is our director of marketing and just handled everything. And I may or may not have poached her from anyhow, she's mine now, don't care. So big shout out to her for helping us get to where we're at. And again, you can always, if there's a topic you really want to hear about, and we really want to reach out to all entrepreneurs, small business owners, not just accountants. Even though we're accountants, we deal with all of you. So we want to be able to speak to all of you. So there's a topic or something you want to hear about, throw it to us, and we're going to try to get it in. And we are excited to have you grow with us, and we will see you on the next episode. I did your face.